Hello, my name's Mary English and I'm a professional astrologer working in private practice in the UK and the author of more than 16 books on astrology. And what I'd like to share with you today is some information about medical astrology. Now, medical astrology isn't a form of diagnosis, it's not a form of treatment, and you don't get a prescription with it. What happens in a medical astrology session is that we work with your birth chart and what are called transits to find out what it might have been astrologically that triggered your condition to start. Now, there's all different types of health complaints. So something could be what we call acute, something that rises very quickly and just as quickly dissipates. Or it could be something that's chronic, that's taken a long amount of time to get from when you were born to where you are now, and the health issue has continued for absolutely years. And it's these things that astrology is very good at getting to the bottom of why you might be suffering from that particular condition. Now, I don't I don't aspire to be able to talk in medical terms. I'm not medically trained. What I will be talking to you about your chart is I'll be speaking in English. I won't be using too much astrology, but to be able to do the session, I will need to have three important pieces of information. I will need your date of birth. I will need to know the time that you were born and the location that you were born, because what I will be doing is creating a chart, a birth chart, for your specific date, time and location of birth. Now, don't fret too much if you don't know what time you were born. An awful lot of people born in the UK have no idea when they were born. They might have a vague idea if their parents are still alive and they can remember. Other countries, especially the USA, will have the time of birth written on the birth certificate, and also in Scotland. But unfortunately in the UK it won't be written on your birth certificate, so don't even bother going to look for it. You will have to ask other members of the family, aunties, uncles, grandparents, parents, whatever, you know. If you cannot find your time of birth, again, don't fret, I can still construct a chart for the day of birth, and we can still look at to see which planets are transiting. Now, what is a transiting planet? A transiting planet, so say you were born and the sun was up here in your chart. So if you imagine there's a circle here, this is the birth chart that I've created. That's the Earth in the centre. That's how the charts work. We have the Earth in the centre. We have all of the planets circling around the Earth for the date you were born. And you were born reasonably during the day at some point. So this is the horizon. The sun will be somewhere above the horizon in your chart. A transit is that we've constructed the chart. A transit is a planet that comes past so the sun's here in your chart. So this is a transit is a planet that comes past in its orbit past your natal birth planet. And certain planets trigger certain things. Now, there are all sorts of planets. There are 10 planets that we use in the chart, and I use the word planet, which is not an astronomical term, because the moon and the sun aren't planets, is that right? They're luminaries. Okay, everything else is a planet. The Earth is a planet, Venus is a planet, and Mercury is a planet. But in astrology, we use all the terms and we just call them planets. It just makes life easier. But certain of those planets they don't cause things, but they will be reflecting, as above so below, something that will be happening to you on Earth. We are all in some ways linked, not just to each other and our immediate families and stuff, but to everything that exists in the cosmos. Big thing to have to think about on what day am I having on a Saturday morning, but yeah. So what I'll then be able to translate for you, because as an astrologer my job is to translate the information that I find in the chart and speak English with you about it. It might be, say it's Jupiter is the planet that was doing the transit when the health issues started. Jupiter is a planet about expansion and making things bigger, and it might be that at that precise moment in time maybe you were eating too much or staying out too late or just sort of generally overdoing it, and we can see that that particular planet is a trigger for you. And then once we discover which planets are the triggers for you, then I can make recommendations. You know, this date coming up ahead will probably not be so good for you, so my advice is to do X, Y, Z when that happens. But most of the times, people that have got a long-standing chronic condition want to know, why am I suffering? What is the reason and the cause of the illness that I have? And astrology is fantastic to be able to give you a much more spiritual answer to that question. So it's not because you ate too many cakes. It might be that the particular issue and the spiritual side of it is that you're learning that the sweetness of life needs to come from other areas other than cakes. Okay. So I hope that explains a teeny bit about a medical astrology session. They last 90 minutes. They cost 70 UK pounds. I accept Skype. What am I saying? I accept PayPal as a form of payment, and I use Skype as the method to be able to talk to you so that you can have your consultation. I do use other methods as well, but I'm not going to discuss that on here, other methods that I might be able to communicate with you, because it really depends where you live, what system you've got your computer installed with, whether or not you have headphones. You know, we could be talking on your mobile phone, for instance, but those are the things that we'll discuss in an email first, once you're making up your mind whether or not you'd like to have a consultation. So if you'd like to explore your chart for a medical astrology reason, then do get in contact and email me at mary@maryenglish.co.uk. There's more information on my website, maryenglish.com, maryenglish.co.uk, and you can also find some information about astrology on ukastrologer.co.uk. And you can also find me on the iTunes app. It's called Learn Astrology with Mary, and I do a different episode every Sunday, and we're now up to episode 130 something. But the first 20 episodes of that particular podcast will teach you astrology. So again, I hope that's helped you and you've learned a little bit about medical astrology and how it might help you with whatever medical condition that you have. Thank you.